Hi, I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents. My guest today created the look that every woman wore in the late 70s, early 80s. You know that jumpsuit that defined an era? You saw it on Dynasty, Knots Landing, every fashion page, and on the street. Her name is Regina Kravitz, and she created that look. Regina, you didn't just create the look of the 80s, you also created other looks.
Many. I just want to add something. Jumpsuits existed, but they were a marginal item, like something just an item on people's lines. And I had this company, Regina Kravitz, but I had already paid my dues in the garments industry before that. I didn't just. And the jumpsuit, and I'll tell you how the item came about. That particular item was something that it was a very drapey rayon, and everybody my age or was going to clubs, and it became something that was a little bit dressy, and they could wear it at night. It was an alternative. But because of my background, it also had a great fit. So I was a dancer, and I had I have a keen awareness of the female body, of the body. So it gave everybody this great silhouette with padded shoulders. It was pleated here, and it had sort of draped pockets and room enough to dance in. But this was like 35 years ago. I still see copies of that jumpsuit today.
I think everything old becomes new again, and I think we're seeing a resurgence of that.
Well, obviously, jumpsuits are all over. It's a billion-dollar item that, unfortunately, I didn't copyright. But I'll tell you how it came about. So I had this line. I had the slip dress, and I had a lot of items, but I was designing for a woman at that time like myself, a businesswoman, a young businesswoman entering this whole new world. There weren't as many entrepreneurs as there are today. And she needed clothing that was affordable, chic, that would go from day to dinner. So to keep my sewers busy during the lines, I used to have them just sew samples and, just to keep them busy because I had a sample room. So one, and this is just the genius of happenstance, put the top of a dress on a pant. And I can't tell you who it is because she really invented it. And it was great looking, but it was a mistake. And I had this salesman who came in. He was very colorful, and all the buyers loved him. And he said, "That's great. Let's make a small ticket," which is, in the garment industry, that's the amount you cut. And we did, and we placed it with some stores we were selling, and it sold out. And a year later, I had a multi-million-dollar company, and I had buyers from every store waiting in the hallway to buy it. And I did many, many, many over the years, and I was known for the jumpsuit. And one of the things in the garment industry and elsewhere, it's copied. And it was copied like crazy at all price points. And when I would walk down the streets in the garment center and I would see people I know who were lower priced manufacturers, they'd say, "You see that Ferrari over there? You bought it for me." Oh. That's how popular it was.
I remember seeing Lauren Hutton in it a lot. Who was your favorite person to design for and drape for?
I can't really say there was a favorite person, but I was very influenced by the 40s, the movie stars, the glamour of that era, Katharine Hepburn, and sportswear, and the incredible draped dresses. And, the models at that time were incredible. And they were a whole new breed of women. They were independent, they had their own looks, and they really were the superstars of that era.
I have to admit, my favorite thing that you created was the slip dress. I wish they still existed because it's very hard to find them now.
Well, they do exist.
Yeah, but very hard.
They do exist. So it basically, it was a simple dress, but I always had great necklines. I was always conscious of what would make you feel sexy and confident, but not garish or overshowing. And it was very simple. I had an elastic waist, I had a high slit, and we sold tons of them. That in all sorts, prints, every season. But that was pre the jumpsuit. That was really my major blockbuster.
I love it because I've always loved the hair that looks like it rolled out of bed, the clothing that looks like it rolled out of bed. I don't know why, but that's like the look I like the best.
Well, I think that's what we look like today. That's what's happening. Kind of elegant casualness and wearing things that could be day to dinner, but without really defining them. There's just a wonderful, elegant aloofness that's happening now.
I was really into corsets. I wanted to create corsets that could be worn underneath suits, and then you take it off at night and ta-da!
I love corsets. I still love corsets. I think it's a great look. Depending on your age, you can wear a corset, but you might need a little jacket or a shrug. And of course, Madonna, made the corset and lingerie, outside lingerie, looking really popular in that era. So, it does all come back. And I think what's so incredible about street style today, it's so personally expressive. Yeah. And one of my main ideas or my mantras is that what you wear, your style, is your calling card before you even say a word. It really shows what you're all about.
When you own a newspaper, people think that you should dress a certain way. And I don't like that way. So there's no way I'm dressing like that. So when people find out that I own something, they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. But do you find that a lot with clothing?
I think there's a lot of latitude in the fashion business. You're not expected to wear the suit or whatever, but, I always try to present myself in a way that I feel comfortable. I have an enormous wardrobe. I'm always challenged to throw things out because I've been collecting things for years and I love them. And I have unique ways of putting things together, and I encourage, as an influencer, for women to do that. And of course, we have Instagram and Facebook, so we could say, I wore this with this, why don't you experiment? But I think expectations are passé.
I agree. What do you see as the new accessory, the new look that's coming in for this season? I think that's what everyone wants to know. Fashion Week is on its way. I think it's the one thing that people want to know, but they never really learn. So let's teach them before it happens.
Well, it happens very quickly. And we're showing spring, which is incredible. And I think because we've had such a huge amount of color and prints, and we like that, but I think it's going to be moderated a bit. And I think a lot of the flowing and big sleeves, I think there's going to be a sleeker silhouette. Mm-hmm. And fashion has a way of cleaning its palette. Okay. So because things were so electric the last 2 years and big, and I think we're going to see a more subdued, a cleaner silhouette, which is not to say it won't be sexy or chic or sophisticated. So that would be my prediction. And of course, it's all about handbags and shoes and accessories.
What would be your favorite accessory that's coming up this year?
Well, I like earrings. Oh, I didn't wear them. I had these big chandelier earrings. But I would always feel confident with a great earring and a really good handbag, because that really completes the silhouette, and the right shoe. And I also go back to pieces. They're not even my own, but I retailer them. So the best advice I could give somebody is find a really good tailor that's not too expensive. You can realter them and adapt them. I think jackets are a staple, and great little underpinnings, a la the corset or a top, because you could wear that with jeans, with anything.
I'm hoping this year the little sweaters that button up come back, because they're such a great look, and they've been out of style for a while, so it's very hard to find them.
Well, I think it's called the shrug.
Yeah, but that's shorter.
No, well, the longer one, the classic cardigan. We'll see.
Right now, in going to Fashion Week, I've learned that politics really affect the length of our skirt, the color scheme, and everything that's going on. Do you find that to be so?
They say that. I forgot which party it gets shorter.
When we're in a recession, it's long, and when we're doing well, it comes up. Me, I like wearing up.
Well, I think that's a reflection of mental attitude and collective mental attitude. So if we're in a recession, we're all worried about money, and you're a little bit more conservative. It would make sense when you're not in a recession, high on the hog, we're out there dancing and whatever. I'm not sure what's going on. I would like to see Kamala Harris spice up her look a little.
Oh, that would be nice.
Whether it's jewelry or a print shirt or something. I don't want her to look like a running mate or the other men in this, in the election.
One of the things that you do is you mentor young women and young designers. Can you give us a little talk about that?
Yes. Well, during COVID, before, I had this meeting, or I met these people who have something called the Brooklyn Fashion Incubator, Maria and Raphael. And it's not just Brooklyn, obviously. And they help young entrepreneurs, and some of them are not young, it's just a passion. They've been in other industries to navigate this business that's so difficult. So they asked me to be a keynote speaker and whatever, and I'm proud to say I'm on their board. So it's led me to become all involved in that world of mentoring and helping fashion entrepreneurs. We call them fashionpreneurs. It's difficult, and a lot of them have wonderful ideas, but they don't really understand the real business of it. And there are other incubators I've had the honor to work with, the Philadelphia Fashion Incubator, and these incubators help on the business level, the promotion level. They help these entrepreneurs. It's very hard to be an entrepreneur. You max out your credit card, you beg your family. It's not easy. You work long hours, you don't pay yourself. So I'm very passionate about that, and it's a give back for me.
I think now with walking the runway and all of the different fashion shows, I'm actually addicted to these. I love when you get all the new fashion and they have to make all these things in 24 hours. I'm like, I can't even thread a needle. So for me, this is amazing. Would you say that's helped the fashion industry a lot?
The shows? Yes. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it's enormous, and it's presenting it visually. And in today's world, everything is visual. You know, the social media, we don't want to read a lot of words. It's all visual. Yes, so I think it's absolutely expanded the whole fashion world and industry, and it's not the same. We don't have to distribute through the same stores, through the channels. There are buyers, but you can distribute on social media and have your own point of view. So yeah, I think shows are incredible, and the people who model, which there's much more inclusiveness now, which is important. And again, fashion, style, I think that's one of the main communication things of these times.
I think one of the great things is that you're finally getting to see real bodies in these clothes, because if you are not size 0, a lot of times some of this stuff does not look good on you in any way, shape, or form. You may love what it looked like, but not for you.
Well, yeah, there's large size models. There's people in all sorts of heights and in wheelchairs, and this is what fashion is. Everybody should aspire to that. It's an up. It's a perk. If you see it as a mystical, magical thing you could do every day to bring you up, it's, you know, you don't do it every day, but it certainly makes you feel better.
One of my favorite fashion shows to go to last year, and I'm actually going to go back this year, is the one for people with disabilities. It is the most amazing fashion show to watch, to see them get to have clothing that they can actually put on. Have you ever gone to that? It's really amazing.
But a lot of the fashion entrepreneurs, their inspiration comes from an invention. So I call them social scientists, because it comes out of their own experience of lack or need. And it's often an item that is for the disabled, is for the shorter, is for a whole new population that is being finally recognized. It's so silly it hasn't been.
To see their joy on the runway, and to see the fact that there's actually like, oh, I can put on the shoe now, or I look good now. And to see that joy, it's incredible.
And it's also extended to makeup and hair, and so much personal projection. Yeah, I think it's very important. I went to a lingerie show yesterday. It was a trade show, and I particularly was interested in what they were doing in the innerwear market, which is foundations and there were a number of firms that just cater to larger sizes, easy fit, but it's all about innerwear, not even outerwear.
Well, I think if you don't feel good in your innerwear, how do you feel good in the outerwear? I mean, isn't everything supposed to come from inside, and next to inside is outer?
Well, you and I know that.
Yeah.
And it's hard work to always have that inside fed and happy. It's hard work. And I'm very thrilled to have had a long career in fashion. I don't manufacture anymore. I consult. I'm working on other projects. I think it's an incredible time for people also to reinvent themselves, no matter what they did in their past life. It is the time of the female entrepreneur.
Yay. That's all I have to say to that.
I have to say that's a sweet spot. So I'm happy to speak to that. I had a company. I started it on my own investment. I worked it myself through incredible hard work, perseverance. It was a success.
And you kind of
done was a success.
But you sold to, but you also were doing it for women. I mean, sure, men wore it too. I saw it, but MC Hammer. But you created your entrepreneurship with women in mind.
Well, I actually started out in the menswear business. I did.
But were you entrepreneuring when you were in the menswear?
Yes. My first line I was, and it was called Pineapple Clothing. And it was outerwear that went with jeans that my friends at the time had a jeans company, the boutique industry called A Smile. Oh, yeah. And they said, you have to understand, I was like Lady Gaga in the East Village. They thought I was the coolest thing. And they said, well, why don't you make the tops that go with our jeans? Oh, great. But I didn't know what I was doing. So,
But you come from a line of clothing and manufacturing.
I was not really a manufacturer. I do come from a family who, I have to say it's probably genetic. I was in it before I was born.
I'd be kicked out of your family. Because seriously, I can't thread a needle. It's horrible.
Well, I could, but I don't have the patience. Although I can sew and all of that, but I prefer to have an expert. And then that particular menswear was, then another line was funded by a really big company in menswear. Okay. It was kind of young menswear. And after that, I just started my own thing.
I have to tell you a story that you'll laugh at. So when I went to high school, you had to take home ec, and one of home ec was learning how to sew, and everyone got to make the really cute peasant blouse. My mother decided that she hated peasant blouses, so I had to make a butterick pattern, and it was this tied, buttoned. Everybody's only having to put in a hem and elastic. I have to do buttonholes. I have to do seams, more than one piece. I get it done, and she irons it, and the whole thing fell apart. So I never even got to present it.
Well, that could happen.
It did.
And thank goodness you didn't make a lot of them.
Oh, no, thank God. The funny thing is I really wanted the peasant blouse. Yeah. But, nope. I was. I was like, give me the simple cut, the end. What would you like to see happen in fashion?
I think that it's trending towards more functional fabrics. That's a huge thing. And it's, of course, we're sustainable. So fast fashion is going to be, they're going to have to try to get more sustainable. But I think we're going to have less bulk in clothing and more fabrics that are weather adapted and possibly less stuff as opposed to more stuff.
You just brought me to a great subject because I'm actually dying to do this. So we know that 5G right now is killing our bodies. And there is 5G protective fabric. Can you see a clothing line made with this kind of fabric that is fashionable yet functional and covering?
Yes, I could. And I think that there's a lot of experimentation with things being woven, yarns, into the textiles that are conductors, that are thinner, that change things. So I think the real technology is going to be on the yarn level and the textiles.
It's happening now, but like for guys, they get boxers, which come down to here and come up to here. We get these tiny little things. I'm like, I want tights. Give me tights that cover my legs and cover me up to here. And no, but they don't. Seriously, for women, they don't. And I cannot figure this out. I'm like, okay, you care about men and like what's there, but you don't care about women? Hello.
They don't have a lot of choices. They have more
tights. Hello.
They have more. I think they have more choices now from my observation, but I think women have so many choices today with, what they're wearing as under things and covering, and they could create a whole new figure.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you want it skinnier, not bulkier.
No. So that's what I'm saying. I think fabrics will reflect that.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, we don't, even in the winter, we don't want to walk around with these huge.
Oh, God, no. My favorite coat, I got a coat 3 years ago. It's so light. It's a puffer thing, but to pick it up, it's light. And the whole reason I loved it is because of that, because my shoulders get hurt in the summer.
Absolutely. It's like, yeah. Uniqlo makes these like zip up things that you could take on a trip, and they're very warm. So yeah, I think that layering and more functional layers, and then maybe the glitz over it. Like in today's, right now, everything is glitzy, sequined, eye-popping, flashy.
Glitter.
But I think that goes back to the present state of mind that we have in our daily lives and what we're confronting in our world.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like our audiences to know about Regina Kravitz? And what is your next step?
I'm working on it. I'm working on becoming an influencer, a motivational speaker. I'd like to write my story. It's been very interesting. I'd like to get into other platforms that speak a message, inspire people. It could be videos, documentaries. It's an interesting time for me.
And is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like our audiences to know?
Well, I do want to say one thing. Because you were interviewing me today, and I thought about where we come from and the influences of our childhood and our education, that when we're going through it, we really don't know what's happening. No. So, yes, I had a lot of garment center influence, but I looked back on my father, who was such a hard worker and had such a hard work ethic, and my mother, who was fashionable and warm and people-loving and always knew, what you should wear, how to make yourself look better. And I realized what a contribution and mixture it made in me to give me the skills and talents I have today.
It's funny because in my interviews recently, it has been all about the family that supports you and gives you the right ethic and gives you the right format in which to format your own life. And I'm hearing it in the people that succeed. This is so important.
I had a rough childhood. My parents split up, but I'm not saying I'm saying it's the value of looking back and seeing the positive that was given to you that influenced you, and also the ability to have a choice to invent things and become your own person.
But you made that choice.
Yes.
There's so many people that it lives here and never goes here because they don't make the choice.
It's not easy. You have to have a lot of energy and want it. And a lot of people do, though. And, we all have strong ways, quiet ways, so you can make an impact in many, many ways.
I'm so glad you came on our show today. I am so grateful that Regina Kravitz came to our show today to give her knowledge and her expertise. I'd like to thank Magda Katz for videoing and always making us look and sound good. I'd like to thank Chuck Armstrong for the lights. Thank you, Wonderama. And I'd like to thank Romel Gopez and the Hotel Edison for giving us a home and always making us feel welcome. I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents.